Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in, guys. Sergeant Moose here, back with another Predator Hunting Grounds video. Today, guys, we are 1 day away. It is September 30th, 1 day away from the official release, the revival, the upgrade for Xbox Series X and PS5 for Predator Hunting Grounds. Man, I'm really excited about that, guys. The game's going to be released tomorrow. Now, with that said, guys, every time a game releases, you know, if we don't have a roadmap or anything like that, I usually like to compile a little bit of a wish list. Now, we do have a roadmap, a small roadmap for the future of this game that we've seen so far. It includes new Predators coming out throughout the beginning of 2025. Of course, the newest one coming tomorrow, which is the feral Predator from the new film Prey. But I have a little wish list, guys, of some things that I would like to see in the future of this game to really help it thrive. Some things that kind of missed the mark on its first run that I think could really help the game succeed in its second run. Now, we haven't heard a whole lot of from IllFonic about what we can expect to come, but these are some things I'm going to talk about that I kind of want to see come, and I want to see your guys' comments too and what you'd like to see as well. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. So throughout the game's initial lifespan, guys, we've seen a ton of new Predators. Not only film Predators, and even including some from AVP, but we've also seen some originally created Predators from IllFonic themselves. Really kind of, you know, clever Predators, really creative that they created that we really like to see kind of, you know, representing different time periods and stuff like that, which were really cool. But in my opinion, guys, I would like to see some more Predators from the films themselves, also in the comics. You know, if you look back from the film Predators, you know, we have the Tracker we have the Falconer in the game, we have Mr. Black in the game, we even have the captured Predator in the game. However, we don't have the Tracker Predator in the game, which I thought was really weird. So I'd like to see something there, maybe with the release of the Tracker Predator finally, and also maybe something incorporated with the Pred Dogs I think would be really cool as well. So yeah, as far as new Predators, I will say that they have kind of hit the mark with releasing a bunch of new Predators in the past. You know, most were kind of just like reskin Predators with slightly changed stats, but a lot of them were really kind of unique, really cool, so they were doing a good job there. Now, one thing I kind of think that they were kind of lacking on a little bit was actually Fireteam members as opposed to Predators, guys. Now, you know, a lot of folks playing this game, they're huge fans of Predator 1 or Predator 2 or, you know, any Predator film in the franchise, and I think a lot of these, you know, Fireteam or, you know, main protagonist characters that were in the films, you know, folks kind of resonated with, and we'd like to see them in the game. For instance, we've already gotten 2 versions of Dutch from the original film. We got the 87 version of Dutch, which you see in the film, and then we got, well, I guess you could say almost today's version of Dutch, because it is the 2025 version of Dutch in the game as well. Looks a little bit older, slightly altered stats. He also has some net gun damage to his face that he got from a female Yautja, which we'll talk about. But yeah, really cool stuff like that. We got Isabel from the film Predators as well, guys. But in my opinion, I don't think that's enough. I think there's so many fans, a lot of folks that want to see a lot of the original cast of the original film. Of course, obviously, Blaine, you know, Jesse Ventura, we got his minigun in the game and all that good stuff. Who wouldn't want to see him in the game? The sexual Tyrannosaurus himself. Also, guys, Billy being the one that I've seen the most talked about from the original film. It seems to be a lot of folks' favorite character from the first film. Of course, his actor is dead, unfortunately, but it would still be nice to be able to see his likeness, or, you know, have Billy himself incorporated sometime, you know, in the game's lifespan. Of course, you know, the Predator has his iconic laugh and everything like that, so that'd be really cool. So that's something I'd like to see, is new Fireteam members, maybe even Royce from Predators. You know, I kind of found it odd that we saw Isabel, even though they were both kind of co-lead protagonists in the film. I think it'd still be cool to see Royce, because he kind of brings that more modern feel of the 87 Dutch, and I think Adrian Brody, you know, if they could grab his likeness too, and, you know, maybe even as voiceover, I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, I'd like to see a little more diversity with the Fireteam members as opposed to so many Predators. I mean, I know that is kind of the main catch of the game, is different Predators, but, you know, people are also attached to these Fireteam members as well. Now, as far as new Predators go, guys, you know, like we just talked about, I talked about having Tracker from the film. We did get a lot of love from, you know, AVP, which I was really surprised to see, because, you know, that's obviously a crossover with Alien. And I don't know how, the license and stuff goes there. But they did pretty good with that. We got Wolf, obviously. We got Mr. Black. We got some stuff from AVP, Requiem, all that cool stuff. So as far as the film standpoint goes, we're not too bad there. I'd like to see some more stuff from the comics, I even had a conversation last night of maybe even trying to incorporate, Machiko Noguchi from the comics into the game. Of course, she crosses over into the Predator tribe in the comics. I think that'd be really cool to see her in the game as, probably a Fireteam member, but maybe even a Predator class would be really cool, because there's a lot of folks out there that enjoy this Predator lore, not only just for the films, but for the comics themselves. Even, Dutch's brother from the prequel novel that we got before the game came out, that could also be a really good suggestion for coming into the game as well. Now, guys, a big thing I want to talk about, is over the years, since Predator Hunting Grounds been released, the asymmetrical genre has kind of been evolving over time. And when I talk about that, I mainly am speaking of, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. The asymmetrical genre seems to be shifting slightly to a multi-killer genre, as opposed to just having one versus whatever, like most of these asymmetrical games in the past do. So what I'd like to see, guys, and obviously this wouldn't be too far-fetched, being Predator, I'd like to see a multi-hunt mode. This is something I've been calling for ever since 2020. Unfortunately, a new mode got put into the game. However, it wasn't anything like that mode. Now, we did get a new mode, Clash, which was put into a game, which basically is a 4v4 team deathmatch, kind of capture the point type thing, to where you could spawn a Predator after a certain amount of time, after you've gained so many points, and sometimes both teams could spawn a Predator at the same time, and the Predators could fight each other. It was a really cool concept, but it never really stuck, as a lot of these, secondary modes don't really stick in these games, i.e. Evil Dead Splatter Royale. We'll see how Rush Week goes in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but one mode that I think could really, really stick and possibly even compete or beat the regular hunt mode would be a multi-hunt mode. And what I mean is maybe, 2 Predators versus 8 Fireteam members, or 3 Predators versus 8 Fireteam members, something like that. It would be cool to see the whole, AVP hunting party going out into the jungle on a hunt. I just think that would do this game very well, and it would give you a reason to play with your friends, not only just as a Fireteam, but also as the Predator. So, if Ilphonic ever sees this video, man, now that they have the publishing rights, I think this would do this game so well. I've been calling for it since the very beginning, and I'm not going to stop until we get it. Now, another thing for the wish list, guys, is new maps, and what I mean by new maps is new environments in the game. Now, when I think of Predator, being that, Predator, the first Predator is my favorite Predator film of all time, I think of the jungle, right? And that's what we have in the game. We have tons of jungle maps. Every map we have in the game is focused, centered somewhere in the middle of the jungle, right? Which is really cool because it sets the tone. It makes everything more scary. But, I mean, come on now, guys. Predator 2, one of the most iconic Predator films of all time, and many folks would even say that's their favorite Predator film of all time. I think we need to finally get some city maps, guys. We need to get some open, kind of city maps with big buildings and skyscrapers and stuff like that the Predator can climb and mantle. Now, I'm not a developer. I don't know how development works. I know a big part of this game is the Predcore movement that Ilphonic has called it, where, obviously the Predator climbs and mantles the trees and negotiates obstacles between the trees and stuff like that. How would they be able to do that with buildings, from a coding standpoint, and being able to set that up to make them act as sort of like trees to where the Predator could climb buildings and jump them and stuff? I don't know how easy that would be. A lot of folks I've talked to that do have, experience in development said that it wouldn't be too hard to be able to make the buildings act as trees as they would be in the jungle and have the Predator be able to climb them and mantle them like trees. I don't know, but I think that might be one of the biggest issues as to why we're not getting a city map. I'd love to see something like LA where we have, broken down, police cars everywhere, and the city's kind of just in shambles, and things are burning, and, you know, just have the Predator kind of running around the buildings and rooftops and stuff like that, I think would be really, really cool and really good for the quality of life for this game. Also, the reserve planet, of course, you know, you're talking something similar to a jungle environment, but I think it'd be really a really cool selling point to have something like the reserve planet from Predators, and maybe even dabble in Yautja Prime. I think would be really cool as well. I think anything to kind of get us moved out of the jungle just, excuse me, just a little bit, and be able to move into, you know, another environment would be a breath of fresh air for this game. And I think fans would like that too. And last but not least, guys, for our wish list, we have the single player mode. So, years ago, guys, when this game was out, there was a single player mode leaked within the game. It looked like a lot of fun. You know, me and my good friend Aliens, Gaming Universe Community, and a few others have talked about this the other night too. A single-player game would be just absolutely incredible for this game. You know, maybe even go in depth with it, where you can start out as a young blood predator, work your way up through the ranks, you know, gain different weapons and stuff as you go along. It doesn't have to be anything too extreme or too, you know, focused. Basically, the whole game's focus is on the single-player mode, but something to do where we can kind of run around with the Predator itself and have some fun in that regard, and not have to worry about just playing the asymmetrical, you know, version of this game. So I think it'd be really cool to do something like that, just to give players, you know, a little breather, a little break from the main mode. But I will say one thing, guys. My biggest takeaway from this entire wish list is the multi-hunt mode, something I would desperately want to see in this game. It's got to happen, man, with the shift in ASIM games and multi-killer modes. I think that would do this game so well, and Predator itself fits that role so perfectly. But, guys, we're one day out. Tomorrow, the DLC, the updated version of Predator Hunting Grounds is coming to Xbox Series. That's S and X, PS5, PC. Get your hands on it, guys. Get in the jungle, man. Have some fun. Game's going to be a lot of fun. I hope this time around is a lot better than last time, and we see a bright future for this game. But yeah, with that said, guys, I'm going to hop out of here for now, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be streaming the game tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Time. So if you guys enjoy the content, feel free to drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel for all things Predator Hunting Grounds. My name's Sergeant Moose. Thanks so much for tuning in.